Hi, I'm Malik Jordan from Learn Color Grading and FilmSimplified.com, and currently I'm traveling for work, but I saw the new updates that came to Davinci Resolve, and I know that for a while I won't be back home, so I felt that I just need to give you, an update and overview of what's happening with Resolve. And the first impression is very simple. Wow. Now, Blackmagic Design keeps on unbelievably impressing us, and I'm just gonna go through the biggest things that I think were changed here and that were very, very impressive. And we're gonna go through multiple categories. Of course, we're gonna start with color grading, new things with color grading, then the unbelievable integration of Fusion into Resolve, and at the end we're gonna go to editing. So let's start with grading. Now, the two most impressive things when it comes to color grading are the LUT browser and the shared nodes. Now, let's start with the LUT browser. Now, one of the things that people used to struggle with is previewing LUTs in Davinci Resolve, because you usually just had to apply the LUT, see its effects, and maybe go apply another LUT later, and it was just a very long process. However, now it's pretty simple. Here in the color page, you have a new tab here that is called LUTs. If you click it, now Resolve will show you all the LUTs you have in your system, and you can simply hover over any LUT to preview this LUT with your current footage. Notice that to preview the LUT, all I had to do was just to hover the mouse over the LUT preview to see a preview of this LUT being applied to my footage. So let's test another LUT, maybe another LUT. I'll just go to Film Looks here and start applying different LUTs to my footage and see how the LUT look on my footage. And if we like the LUT, it's pretty simple. All I have to do is to drag the LUT on top of the node you want the LUT to be added on. Now, this might seem like a small thing, just a new window. However, when you look at it in the context of you previewing like maybe thousands of LUTs in a month when you're working on projects, this will save you unbelievable time. That is very valuable to do other things in your project. Now, that was the first impressive thing in coloring in Davinci Resolve 15. The second thing is unbelievably impressive. It's shared nodes. Now, let's say you have multiple shots and you want to apply the same effect to multiple shots. Usually what you had to do is to add the shots to a group, but in that case, all the nodes in that group would have been synced. However, you might not want to sync everything. You just want to sync one node between multiple shots. So you just save this node, give it a name, add it in multiple shots, and you can just control one node through the entire shot. So let's take a look at it. Now, for example, I have these two shots here. I have this shot and this shot, and I want to add a node that maybe adds a cross process for both things, but both shots have other nodes. So for example, this one will be corrected. Just do a very fast correction. Okay, and increase saturation, great. Now I'll come to this shot here and I'll just correct it. So maybe saturation, lift down, gamma, yeah, much better. So both shots are corrected in different ways. However, I'll come to this shot here and I'll add a new node here. Now this is my new node. I'm gonna add a very fast effect. For example, I'm just gonna bring the black channel down in highlights, bring it up in shadows, just whatever, just a fast look. Now, I'll right click on the new node, and now I have an option here to save as shared node. I'll click, and now notice that this is a shared node. I can double click here to change its name. I'll just call it CP, for example. So this is my node. Now, I'll go to the first shot. I'll right click on the current node, and I'm gonna go to add a node. And notice that when I asked Resolve to add a node, it gave me all the standard options like add serial, add parallel. However, down here it gave me the node I just saved, which is CP, or cross process. I'll add it, and now I just added the cross process look. However, we didn't simply just save a node and add it somewhere else and that's it. Now, this is one node affecting two shots. So I can simply change anything about the node in one shot and it will affect the other shot. Let's see. I'll go to the first node here and notice something very important. This node is locked at the moment. If I change anything, nothing will happen. You see this icon here? It means that the node is locked. I'm going to right click and I'm going to have to uncheck lock node. So now I have the new node unlocked. For example, just to make this very clear, I'll go to the Y channel and bring it all the way down and notice what's happening. I just affected both shots at the same time because they both have the same node. Let's simply bring the node up and maybe change things a bit, to make the look more clear. Now I have this node affecting two shots. Now, for example, in this shot, if I simply add a new node after the current node, I can continue working with this shot, maybe reducing the saturation. So now this shot have 3 nodes and this shot have 2 nodes. So these are not simply parts of a group. This is not syncing all the nodes in the shots. We only have one node that is shared between both shots. So I'll come to this shot, for example, again, come to this node and the shared node and maybe increase something in it, change it in a bit, and it's affecting both shots at the same time. Now, I'm not sure how to describe this, but this is unbelievably impressive. This is just going to make work much, much faster. You know, every shot is different. Every shot is like a fingerprint. Every shot has its own exposure, its own lighting, its own feel, and every shot will require some tweaks that are particular for this shot. However, you still want to add some things that will affect multiple shots at the same time. And through this new system of adding a shared node between multiple shots, now you can just tweak every shot individually and then add this node that will just control a lot of things at the same time. And if you just wanted to tweak something, instead of you having to go to maybe like 20 shots and tweaking the nodes or the look in every shot of the 20, now you can just tweak one node and it will affect all the shots. Okay, let's move now to the dinosaur in the room, Fusion. If you're new to Resolve, let me just explain this in a very simple way. Fusion to Davinci Resolve is like After Effects for Adobe Premiere. It's what allows you to create compositions inside Davinci Resolve. So you can add very advanced effects. And Fusion is not simply the compositing environment that is linked to Resolve. It's one of the most powerful in the world. Actually, just Google what kind of films were created using Fusion and you will just be astonished. Now, until Davinci Resolve 14, there was Davinci Resolve, a standalone software, and there was Fusion, and you just needed to transfer files, and there was an easy way to transfer files, but there were still 2 different softwares. However, now Fusion is a part of Davinci Resolve. It's a new tab inside Davinci Resolve. And moving things between Resolve and Fusion is just ridiculously easy now. Now, let's take a look here. This is my edit here, and I have this shot, for example, and I want to add some effects through Fusion. Before, I had to send it to Fusion. However, now I can simply just select my shot or have the playhead on top of it, for example, and just click on Fusion. And now I have a full compositing environment with my shot loaded. Now, Fusion is based on nodes, not layers, which is pretty powerful. Now, if you look at the node structure here, this is your media. The first node is your file being loaded into Fusion. And the last node is basically sending the file back into the edit. So just think of these 2 nodes as this node loads your file, your current file, and this node sends it out back to Resolve, to be edited. And everything you add in between is what you add to your Fusion composite. So, and on top here, you have your effects library. If I click here, I have all the Fusion effects, the very powerful Fusion effects that can be added. For example, I'll go to Tools here, go down to Warp, and maybe add a dent. I'll simply drag the node, and I'll simply just add it on top of the line here connecting these 2 nodes. And now I have the dent added as an effect, and to the right here I have the inspector with all the properties of denting, and I can simply just change the effect on the screen. Then let's move to editing. What's new with editing? Now, a lot of things have changed in editing. However, I think for me the most important thing is the ability to view multiple timelines in different configurations. So you're not limited anymore to viewing one timeline in front of you at any moment. You can actually view multiple timelines in different way. Let's take a look at it. Now I have here timeline 1. This is my timeline. I'm simply going to make a copy of it. So I'll just copy and paste. So now I have timeline 1 and copy of timeline 1. Let's call this TL2, and I'll go to timeline 1 and rename it TL1. Great. Now I have my timeline here and everything is normal. However, if I click here now, I have this option here that says Stack Timelines. If I click it, notice that now here I have a tab. I'll just uncheck this again, and this is my original way of viewing my timeline. There are no tabs. However, if I click here now I have a tab and I can add a new timeline. So if I double click the new timeline, now I have timeline 1 in a tab here and timeline 2 in a different tab. And this is a very just welcome addition because you usually needed a lot of work to move between tabs here. And once you view these tabs here, you have this new button to the right. If you click it, now you can show stacked timelines. So now I have timeline 1 here, and now when I click on timeline 1, I have this orange bar on top, means that this is the currently selected timeline. I'll click down here, so now I'm selecting this timeline here, and I'll double click on timeline 2. And notice that now I have timeline 1 on top and timeline 2 here on bottom, and I can simply just drag something from this timeline to the other timeline. So now working with multiple timelines is unbelievably faster and easier now. So these were the major things I think for me that interested me more in this particular upgrade of Davinci Resolve. Now, if you joined any of our courses on filmsimplified.com before, for any previous version of Davinci Resolve, you will be upgraded for free now to the new courses explaining the new Davinci Resolve 15, whether in color grading, editing, compositing, or audio with Fairlight. All the courses will be updated now, and everybody will be upgraded for free to the new courses. Thank you for watching. These were the things that interested me the most in the new version of Davinci Resolve. And please visit us at Learn Color Grading and FilmSimplified.com, where you can find free courses to get you started fast with Davinci Resolve. Thank you.